Hi everybody, welcome back to Crafts by KMW. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you'll enjoy this video. So today I am going to compare and share my experiences with two different sets of pastel-colored pencils. So these are regular colored pencils that are in pastel colors, not chalk pastels. And if you notice the thumbnail, you will know that I am going to be talking about the Kalour macaron set and the Brutfuner macaron set. So I'm making this video because I want to share my experiences and thoughts about these two products with you so you can make the best choice for you and for your coloring style and needs. I wish before I bought the first set that I had done that I had done a little research or seen a video that showed me a little bit more about the colored pencils, because I definitely would not have bought one of these sets and I would have saved myself about 20 bucks. Not that that's a lot of money, but there's definitely some other art supplies that I would have bought with that 20 bucks. So I'm hoping that this helps you to make the best choice for you. Now, if you like the set that I don't like, that is perfectly fine. I am not trying to shame you or anything like that. I am just sharing my experiences. Of course, everybody's experience may be different. For every 100 people that love a product, there's always one or two that don't and have a negative experience with it. So that is pretty typical with pretty much everything that we have, from art supplies to furniture to clothing. So if you like them and you love them, that's awesome. You do you. But I just thought I would share so this could help someone else. So the first set I am going to talk about is the Kalour macaron set. So these say that these are Soft Touch Premium Expert. They are artist premium quality, rich, vibrant colors, soft, smooth, lead, and non-toxic. So they come in this really nice tin. They are about $18 and change at Amazon, and that's about what I paid for it. I imagine you can find them on sale, or maybe you might find them cheaper some other places like Blick or AliExpress or even Temu. But this is, I think they're generally between $18 and $19. So the tin is awesome. I love the pink. It's a really nice, pretty tin. On the back, it tells you a little bit more about the colored pencils, that they are soft core lead, 50 unique vibrant colors, no duplicates, suitable for precision coloring and filling, ideal for drawing, illustrating, and coloring, break resistant, soft, smooth, and thick lead, professional grade, artist quality, unsurpassingly light fast and acid-free quality pigments, artist quality colored pencils for every level of expertise, smooth color lay down for superior blending and shading, vast color range with color name for easily recognize. Now, there are a few grammatical errors in there, which I think unfortunately is a feature of lower quality products, but should not be. But I'm not going to get into that. I was a teacher for 20 years. I'm not going to correct these pencils, but that is something that I definitely notice. So let's open them up. So the inside cover shows you all the colors and gives you swatches. Now, these swatches are not very true to color. They are much darker than what they really are in real life. And then you have the colored pencils. And I had flipped this tin over, so they're a little bit out of slot now. And they give you, excuse me, a color chart, which I think is great. It fits in the tin very, very well. So I just keep it with me, so I always have it to refer to. And you can see that I filled them in. So the colors are definitely lighter than what you see here on the top of the tin. So let me take out these trays. So the trays are really nice too. They have these little grab holes that make it relatively easy to get them out. And I love the color, I love the pink. So here are the two trays. I think I have them in frame. So you can see that I've been using these pencils in one way or another, and I'll get to that soon. But when I first looked at them, I thought that there was a pretty nice color range. So there are some lighter colors, some yellows, some beiges. There's a few oranges, some peaches, some pinks, and then only two purples, which I thought was really odd. I don't know why you would only have two purples. Purples are one of those colors like red. There are several different tints depending on whether you make it with blues or more on the gray side, and you can't really blend those shades. So I was really hoping for some more purples to work with, but it is what it is. And then this whole tray is pretty much blues and greens. Now, I was sort of disappointed. I really didn't want that many blues and greens. In most regular colored pencil sets, you get a lot of blues and greens. They're colors that we use a lot. We use a lot for sky, trees, backgrounds, water. And so I just felt like this is too heavy on the blues and greens when we probably have a lot in our regular pencil sets. But that's okay. I was like, all right, I'll just work with these, and I think that I will definitely be able to use them. So I'm just gonna put this back in so I could come in a little bit. So the pencils themselves are really pretty. I like that they have the finished bottom. I think that is a really nice feature. So you see the name of the company, Kalour, and then they have a number and they have a name. So this one is called Shallow Pink. And then it has little pluses next to it. So it ranges from 1+ to 4 pluses, I believe, which is supposed to show the light fastness of these pencils. Now, if you don't know a whole lot about light fastness, and I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, but I do know a little bit, it takes a lot of testing and a lot of time to really have an understanding of the light fastness of any one color. So usually this is only done with the highest quality pencils. Like if you go on Amazon and you search for light fast colored pencils that actually state that they have done rigorous testing and give you the process of what they've done to test and make sure that these pencils are light fast, they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So to say that a $20 set of colored pencils is going to be reliably light fast with some of their pencils, I think is false. I just don't think that they can make that claim. I doubt that these pencils went through the rigorous testing that is needed. I don't know what testing they went through, but I would assume that they did not go through the same type of testing that other companies go through with much higher price pencils. So I would just view the light fastness with a huge grain of salt or a teaspoon of salt. I'm actually not paying attention to it at all myself because I just don't believe that these pencils at this price point could be light fast. So I'm just ignoring that. So now let's get into the pigmentation, blendability, layerability of these pencils. So I'm going to show you a couple of pages that I've colored using these pencils. So they are in Hannah Carlson's Daydreams. So the first one is an actual full page that I colored with these pencils. And I actually have a color along on the channel. I believe it's a 2-part color along that you could view if you would like. And so I used these pencils, the Kalour pencils, exclusively on all the fish. Now there are some metallic paint pens and gel pens as well, and then ink for the background with the clouds. But the fish are primarily colored with the Kalour pencils. Now, they're pretty. They are lovely colors. They are very pastel. There's a nice range with being a 50 set. I wouldn't say that they are super, super bright. Now, that is on purpose. I wanted this page to be more subtle and really pastel and softer. So there's only 1 or 2 layers of each color on these fish. So I wanted it to have that very light pastel look. So I really felt that these colored pencils did really well when you just use them 1 or 2 layers. I blended a little bit and I didn't find them super, super blended. There are some areas that I can look at now where I wish it was blended a little bit better. But they did blend relatively well, again, with 1 or 2 layers. So next I want to show you another page. So this page is not completed yet, but I can show you what I did with the Kalour. So the rabbit is colored entirely with the Kalour pencils. Now, the rabbit itself is very light, and that's on purpose. I want it to be very light. It's also not totally finished. I'm still working on adding the fur. So kind of ignore that. It's the flowers that I really want you to focus on. So these flowers have at least 3 layers. I tried to put on 4 or more layers, 4 or 5 layers, because I wanted super saturation and I wanted these to be a little bit brighter. And I just couldn't get there. Now this paper is really good paper. Hannah Carlson's paper is excellent. It is nice and thick. It has a little bit of a tooth, tiny bit. So these pencils should work well on this paper, but they were really hard to work with when I wanted to add more layers and get more richness of color. They're pretty waxy, I think. I would almost compare them to the waxiness of Crayolas, although I think they're a little more pigmented than that, but they're pretty waxy when you try to put more than 1 or 2 layers on, and eventually the wax buildup just doesn't allow you to add any more layers. They also, the more layers you put on, they almost became resistant to blending, and it was really, really hard to blend them with multiple layers, more than 2. So in contrast, you can see the flowers. Now the flowers were done with Prismacolor. Now I am not saying that the Kalour at $20 should be the same quality as the Prismacolors at like 150. But if you're going to put on your packaging that your pencils are artist quality, highly pigmented, blendable, and layerable, they need to be that. And these really aren't. Like I said, they are when you just use 1 or 2 layers, but when you start to add more to get more depth of color, you just can't do it. It's really, really difficult. So I was really disappointed in that. But I figured it's okay. I can just color with these with 1 or 2 layers and it'll be fine. When I want to use these colors, I'll just keep in mind that I want them to be very light, and they need to be light because I really can't layer and blend with them too well and get really deep, rich colors like I got with the red. Then it came to sharpening them. So as you can see, I have a lot of short pencils. And this is not because I colored with them a lot. This is because they don't sharpen at all. I sharpen them, and then either before I even get them to the paper or as soon as I touch the sharpened tip to the paper, the tip falls out. That's what has happened with these. This pencil, I think I colored with twice, and I sharpened it, and I sharpened it down to this little bit with that one session of sharpening. And I have a really good pencil sharpener. This is an electric AFMAT. It is a really good sharpener from a really good company. I did research. They make all kinds of sharpeners, from very low priced ones to very high price industrial grade pencil sharpeners. So this is a really good sharpener. So it's not the sharpener, it's the pencils. Now, I will say that this might not be a feature of Kalour pencils. The amount of people that like these pencils and say that they bought them and love them and are buying bigger sets, that tells me that it's not a feature of these pencils. However, this did happen to my set. I think that pretty much all of them are broken all the way through. Now, there is a way that you can fix that. You can put them in the oven, but seeing that these are only $20 pencils, I don't want to do that. I don't know what will happen. Will they start on fire? Will they explode? Will they melt into a puddle of mush? I don't know. So I'm just dealing with them as they are, and I have the idea that I'll just use them up, and then when I'm done with them. It could have happened in shipping. It could have happened in their packaging process and whatever. So it really doesn't matter. All that matters is that my pencils don't sharpen well. Now, I can sharpen them with a manual sharpener. I have to go very slowly. I have to do 1 or 2 turns, check it, make sure it's not too pointed, and then color, and then sharpen again, and then color, and then sharpen again. Excuse me. So I am just constantly, sorry about that, sharpening, coloring, sharpening, coloring, and it's really a pain. It's not very fun to do that. So that's my experience with the Kalour pencils. However, there's a little bit more to this story. So I review every product I buy unless it's something like toilet paper or Windex or something like that. I review all my art supplies, clothing, furniture, any kind of household items, everything, because I want to help people. And if I have a good experience, I want them to know. And if I have a bad experience, I also want them to know. I can't tell you how many times reading the reviews has helped me avoid a bad product or a product that has some kind of issue. So I'm very grateful for reviews, so I always add them. So I wrote a review of these pencils. I basically wrote everything that I just told you. And at the end, I always say whether I recommend the product or not. And I said that I do not overall recommend these pencils. And I don't know how long it was after I posted the review, but at some point afterwards, might have been a week or two, I got an email from Kalour. And they expressed regret and said that they were sorry, that I had a bad experience with their pencils, that should not have been my experience, that they take pride in their products, and that they were going to give me a full refund of my purchase price. And wow, I was just floored. That is customer service. That is awesome. Most companies don't do that. Most companies that sell lots and lots of product, they really don't care if one or two people have a problem with a product, because there are hundreds of thousands and perhaps millions of other people who don't and are satisfied. So they don't care about the unsatisfied people. But obviously, Kalour does. And I just thought that was so awesome. I thought it was amazing that they're even monitoring reviews on Amazon, which I think is really cool to begin with. I don't think that many companies do that. And that they reached out to me totally unprovoked. I did not say in my review that I wanted a refund, or I did not contact Amazon or anything. I just decided that I would use these pencils up and then move on. But I have to give it to Kalour. That was really awesome. And even though I might not buy more of their pencils, I think I will definitely give some of their other products a try. I don't know what else they make. I don't know if they make paints or chalk pastels or other types of art supplies, but if they do and I come across them, I would definitely give them a try, because they reached out to me and they showed me that they care about their product, they care about how their customers feel about their product, and that matters to me. So that's the Kalour. So now let's move on to the Brutfuner. So these are about the same price. The last time I looked on Amazon, they were $14.38 or something like that. I think I paid $18 something for these. So it seems like maybe the prices fluctuate. I'm not sure why. So I imagine these sell for anywhere from $14 to $19. So these just come in a cardboard box. It's pretty. I love it. I love the pink. I love the bubbles. But it's not a long-term storage solution. Whereas the Kalour are, you could keep those pencils in that container for the long term. But these you really can't. I think this cardboard box would wear out pretty quickly if you use these pencils a lot. So on the back, it just talks about the pencils. It says that they are rich, vibrant pigments. They have balanced shades to provide superior blending. Whether you're a beginner, a hobbyist, or a professional artist, these premium pencils are ideal for all your creative work, from quick sketches to intricate details. Again, the grammar is not the best, but I think that's kind of expected. So let's open these puppies up. So inside you have two clear trays. These trays are not as nice as the Kalour ones, definitely. They are flimsier. and the pencils are kind of hard to get out. So you either have to push one end or the other to get them out. They're really hard to get out. So let me spread them out. Actually, I should probably do the light colors on this side. Hopefully you can see most of these. So the colors are pretty similar to the Kalour. You have basically a full tray of greens and blues. There's a couple of grays, just like in the Kalour set. So again, not super happy about that, but I was a little happier with the other colors. So you have a few more beiges. There are some peaches, orangey. You have a few more pinks, and you have some magentas that are sort of on the purple side, and then 3 purples, which I think is great. That's a step in the right direction. So these pencils are very similar to the Kalour in look. So you have the name Brutfuner on the bottom. They have the pretty little gold band. They are finished on the bottom. And then you have Brutfuner colored pencil. And then on the other side, it shows the color name, and all of this is in gold. It's a little hard to read, to be honest with you. I'm always finding I have to put the pencil like right up to my face. So this one is called Bright Marigold. This is actually a really pretty color. So this did not come with a swatch card. So I made a swatch sheet myself. And I'm sorry for the little bit of crazy writing. The sheet got wet a little bit, so I don't want to have to do it over, so I just fixed it as best I could. So here are the colors in real, I guess you could say. And again, they're very similar to the Kalours. I did find that it was much easier to make these swatches than it was to make the Kalour swatches. And I think that says a lot about the colorability of these pencils. So now let me show you a page that I used these pencils on. Might take me a second to find it. All right, so here's one. So I colored these leaves with these pencils. I actually used a little bit of Posca pen, and then I used the pencils for everything else. And as you can see, they're much more opaque, they're much brighter, they're much darker, and it was much easier to get the intensity of color that I wanted with these pencils. They color so much easier. They're softer. They are definitely more pigmented. I think they blend better. Now this is, I think, 1 or 2 layers of color, which I think is awesome. To get this richness of color with only 1 or 2 layers, I thought was really, really good. So these definitely color better than the Kalour. Now, as far as sharpening, I have not sharpened too many of these pencils. I did sharpen this one, and as you can see, it compared to another pencil. It sharpens much better. When you sharpen it, you get the point, and then you can use the pencil. It did break off on me one time, but then I sharpened it again, and it was fine. So it does not seem to me that these pencils are broken all the way through. Now, there may be some that won't sharpen perfectly, but from the few that I have sharpened, they seem to sharpen pretty decently. So I like the Brutfuners much better. I had experience with Brutfuner. I have the 520 set, and I actually love, love, love them. And so I decided, after I bought the Kalour and wasn't really happy with them, I decided to buy a set from a company that I knew of. So hopefully I could avoid another mistake. And so I really, really like these pencils, and I do highly recommend them. So now I am going to do a little color tester for you. So you don't have to just take my word for it. You can actually see these in use. So I'm gonna bring my camera in a little bit. So I'm gonna try to choose similar colors if I can. So I'm gonna use the shallow pink from the Kalour and the raspberry rose from the Brutfuner. I am not pressing very hard at all, but you see that it colors very, very lightly. Now this is just regular copy paper. So of course, all pencils perform better on different types of paper. And there are some pencils that work better on a certain paper than others. So you see I have to go over this a couple of times to get more rich color. And now it's really not adding too much more color. It's kind of stopped. So now let me do the same with the raspberry rose. And again, I'm doing the same. I'm not putting too much pressure. But you can see I'm getting a little bit darker color a lot more quickly than I did with the Kalour. And if I keep going, I can make this darker and deeper. So now let me use a blue. All right, so I've pulled out lavender blue from the Brutfuner, and I'm gonna do the Kalour Aqua. So again, I'm just doing very light pressure. Now, if I press hard, you can get a nice deep color on one layer. All right, and then here's the Brutfuner. Again, I'm just pressing medium. And then again, I can get nice deep dark color if I press hard. So now let me show you a blend. All right, so I'm gonna use green this time. All right, so the Kalour ones I'm using are cobalt green and lettuce green. I don't know if I would particularly put these two colors together but just for educational purposes, I guess, I'm going to. And now I'll do similar with the Brutfuner. So I'm using opal green and green flash. I think green flash is definitely the darker of the two. So I would say the blending is pretty much the same when you use light layers. So that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gives you some information about both sets of pencils. So if you are ever in the market for pastel-colored pencils, you can make a good decision and be happy with your purchase. If you have either of these sets of pencils, please let me know in the comments how you feel about them. If you would like to get a set, I'd love to know which set you think you would like to purchase. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me out as I try to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're not subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Again, it not only helps me get to 1,000 subscribers, but also helps me to know what kinds of content that you would like to see. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a very crafty day.